Now, Kevin Bacon as Sebastian Shaw. Kevin Bacon's character, Sebastian Shaw. Try saying that 5 times fast. I can't even say it normally. Sebastian Shaw. Hey everyone, Stoff here with Bucky Cap and Black Widow, here to bring you another series of reviews leading up to a movie. This movie being X-Men Apocalypse, which comes out on Friday. This will be part 1 of that series, where I'm going to be talking about X-Men First Class, directed by Matthew Vaughn and starring a shit ton of people. So I'll just tell you the main ones. You got James McAvoy playing Professor X, Michael Fassbender playing Magneto, Jennifer Lawrence playing Mystique, Kevin Bacon playing the main villain of the movie, Sebastian Shaw, and you have January Jones playing Emma Frost. Now, let's get into this movie. So this movie takes place in the 60s during the Cuban Missile Crisis. And this is one of the things that I really like about this movie, is that it takes place back in a historical moment in time and doesn't just use it as a novelty, but uses it as a plot point. The climax of this film is the Cuban Missile Crisis. And so it's really cool to see this movie and just how history would have happened if the X-Men would have been real and they would have been around during this time period. That's something that has always hooked me and drawn me to this movie. Another thing would be just the cast in general. Now, like I've listed off before, you have Michael Fassbender playing Magneto, and he was the standout performance in this movie for me. Watching it the first time, even now. The thing that really gets me about this movie, the thing that really draws me and wows me about this movie, is that it takes characters that have been introduced in previous X-Men movies, and even in the comics themselves, and gives them a human element. Makes them relatable, makes us care about these characters, and just makes them awesome. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's great to see Patrick Stewart and Sir Ian McKellen play Professor X and Magneto, but they've never really been that compelling of characters. Magneto has a couple cool moments in like the first and second, even the third X-Men movies. Professor X, he's always just been there. I mean, he can find mutants with Cerebro. He can potentially kill them off with Cerebro, as we saw in X2. And he's more or less the guy that's there to be the supportive fatherly figure, the guy to give advice, the advice that our main heroes need. That's pretty much been his Professor X. Nothing too spectacular. He did have a pretty epic death in X3. Whether or not you liked that movie, it was a pretty epic way to go. So yeah, those two characters have just been kind of meh to me in the movies up till this point. We get Michael Fassbender, and the opening scene in this movie, which is a nod to the first X-Men movie, which I like, takes place back in Poland during the Holocaust. Magneto, whose real name is Eric, he and his family are Jews that are about to enter an imprisonment camp. And so they get separated. He brings down a gate. That's when he finds out, hey, I have these powers where I can control metal. And so Kevin Bacon's character, Sebastian Shaw, try saying that 5 times fast. I can't even say it normally. Sebastian Shaw, he is a doctor scientist, and he's intrigued by Eric, wants him to use his powers. The way he gets him to use his powers is he's like, hey, either you're going to move this metal coin in front of me, or I'm going to shoot your mom. Dark stuff is going on in this movie from the start of it, and that's what I really like about this movie too, is that yes, it's light at times when it needs to be, but it's also it also deals with and plays with some very dark themes and some very dark elements, which is just great. It works for this movie. We get emotionally attached to Magneto, to his character. We understand where he's coming from, and we can relate to him a bit more. Same thing with James McAvoy playing Professor X, Charles Xavier. He's not just that person that's there to give good advice. We see how smart he is from the very start. He is like a swaggery, almost kind of playboyish kind of guy, using his powers to pick up the ladies. But after certain events happen in the movie, the CIA approaches him for help, and that's when they find out, hey, there's these things called mutants, and that's when we get into the fray of this story. And just seeing his transformation from swaggery playboy to Professor X in this movie, it's great. Like I said, we are attached to this character because we are seeing his journey to this point. He's not already this established professor that has this school for gifted youngsters. We're seeing his journey to that point, which doesn't even happen really until the end of the movie when he officially has this school. But we see this journey, and he does a great job not only in his own personal growth, but the personal growths that he is helping in this movie. We are seeing him care for these people, helping these people with their mutations, understanding who they are, and just strengthening their abilities. We see an actual Professor X, and that's what I really love about his character. Professor X, before this movie, didn't really care for him at all. After this movie, I love this character in this movie. James McAvoy as Professor X, kudos to you, you did a great job. Now, I gotta talk about her because she's the big actress, Jennifer Lawrence as Mystique. From the get-go, I was like, meh, she's okay. I mean, I get her storyline in this movie. It's not my favorite approach, but it makes complete sense for her character. She's struggling with her appearance because she has blue skin, doesn't really fit in, can't really be herself unless she's trying to hide herself with her powers, where she can change into anybody, anything that she wants to. And so that personal growth, it's, again, great writing, it's done well. I just didn't really care for it. However, her relationship with Magneto, Michael Fassbender, I really enjoy in this movie as well, just because going off of Michael Fassbender and his character, this again is a moment where we get to see more to his character, his relationship with Mystique, because he's telling her throughout this whole movie to just be yourself. She's trying to hide herself, her true self, from the world. She's trying to look like a normal human being instead of having her blue skin. And he's always like, why are you doing this? I like the real you. Everybody else would like the real you too. You just need to be yourself. You need to show your true colors and just be you. We get more to his character through this relationship because he's not just this revenge-driven guy trying to kill the man who killed his parents. He is also like Professor X in helping these people, training these people. And so at the end of the movie, when he turns sides, when he's like, the humans are against us, we need to band together and we need to be the superior beings, you understand where that flip comes from through his relationship with her. He shows that he cares about her as a mutant, as a human being, and he just wants her to be herself because that is who he truly enjoys. And that is what I truly enjoyed about his character and Jennifer Lawrence's character in this movie, just their relationship. That, I think, was the thing that I liked the most about Mystique in this movie. Jennifer Lawrence as Mystique has always just been, okay. I mean, I'll get more into it with X-Men Future Past, and then I'll talk about it more going into Apocalypse and just what I've seen and heard so far before seeing that movie. She's just okay. I honestly prefer the actress who did Mystique in X-Men 1, 2, and 3. I thought she was a badass character. It fit more of her character from the books. But again, Jennifer Lawrence makes sense for this franchise. I mean, this was before her Hunger Games movies, but I got a hunch that Fox had to have known about that casting before she even went into that movie. They somehow knew she was going to be a big deal, so we have to get her in this movie and give her a decent sized role, which they do. Now, Kevin Bacon as Sebastian Shaw, he's okay as well. I mean, I feel like he serves his purpose, but I just wish he would have been more than just that stereotypical I'm going to rule the world kind of villain. That's pretty much all that he is. His side cast of mutants, it was nice to see them because it wasn't your typical mutants, and that's something I also like about this movie a lot too, is that we don't get just another rehash of all of these characters that we've known from the previous X-Men movies, or even just the popular X-Men books themselves. We get random, obscure characters that work and fit with this movie, and that's something that I also really enjoy about this movie. But back to Kevin Bacon, he does, like I said, he does a fine job playing this villain. He serves his role. I just wish that we would have gotten a little bit more from his character. Now, I don't blame that on his performance. I blame that more on the writing aspect. If we just get just a little bit more of this mutant that wants to wipe out all of humanity so the mutants can rise up and he can rule the world, I just think we would have been serving Kevin Bacon himself a lot better. And finally, January Jones as Emma Frost. Probably the worst casting decision out of this movie and most of the X-Men movies, if you don't count Origins Wolverine. What were they thinking? I mean, Emma Frost is a badass character herself in the books. More or less eye candy lackey to the main villain in this movie. She's supposed to be like the darker version of Professor X, but a bit cooler. She also has psychic abilities. She can change her skin to be rock hard like diamonds, which the CGI on that alone is kind of jarring at this point in time. It doesn't hold up since that movie came out. Like I said, she's got a nice pair to look at. She's skimpily clad throughout this entire movie, and that's about it. I mean, she's second hand to Kevin Bacon's character, but she's kind of a pushover overall. And about halfway through the movie, she just kind of disappears until the last scene anyway, and so it was just, you got so much potential with this character, introducing this character, to just have her be eye candy. That's probably one of my biggest flaws about this movie, is her character. But that being said, that's a good thing. I mean, I'll be honest, I wasn't hugely a fan of the X-Men movies prior to this. I'd seen X-Men 1, it was okay, it wasn't mind-blowing. X-Men 3, again, I think it's okay. I know I recognize a lot of the flaws with that movie, but there are still some things that I can pull out that I like and enjoy about that movie. And then X-Men Wolverine, I convinced myself for the longest time to like that movie just because it was the first and only time we've seen my favorite X-Men, Gambit, on the big screen. But no, that's also a terrible movie. So, X-Men movies up till this point, I was like, ugh. And then this one came out, I was like, ugh. I mean, I heard about it, I was like, nah, I probably won't see it. Saw the trailers, and I was like, alright, I need to see this movie. And it is fantastic. I love this movie. Again, I like how it is a period piece that affects a point of history that doesn't just use it as a gimmick, but incorporates it into the plot itself. Gives younger viewers a chance to maybe go back and see, what is this whole Cuban Missile Crisis about that I don't really know a whole lot about. It's a great opportunity for that as well. The training sequences are great. James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender as Professor X and Magneto are the standouts of these movies. Starting with this movie, just seeing their transformations as characters and their friendship themselves. This is another important thing that I want to talk about, is that we understand their friendship. We can see their friendship start and grow, and then see the outcome of why they were once friends and now they're more or less enemies to each other, but still have that respect towards each other. We see that all develop and go through in these movies, and that's something that the first couple X-Men movies lacked. They more or less relied on you having a comic book knowledge of the background to really understand and care about them being friends at one point and respecting each other now. This movie sets that up. It makes it believable, and that's what I really love about this movie. I like the dark themes that this movie goes into at times, but again, it knows when it needs to be light as well. Hugh Jackman's cameo as Wolverine, also perfect. We didn't need Wolverine in this movie. That 2 seconds that we saw him, thumbs up. That was absolutely perfect. Probably one of the better cameos in any of the Marvel movies. Aside from Stan Lee and all his cameos, it was perfect. It was perfect. Teddy Beast, aka Beast, looking more or less like a teddy bear once he's fully blue. Again, him and just the CGI effects that they used on him, and Emma Frost, which, that character all on its own, just, those were the weaker points of this movie. So with that, I will give X-Men First Class the official seal of excellence.
Bossa Nova!
What? Yeah? Bossa Nova?
Chevy Nova? Excellent! Yeah!
Thank you all so much for watching this video. Please, if you like this, subscribe to my channel. Check out some of my other videos, and I will be having a lot more up soon, including part 3 of my Captain America Civil War spoiler talk, as well as my next review in this X-Men series, which will be Days of Future Past. And I will also be reviewing The Nice Guys, which came out this past weekend. I will be seeing that very shortly, and I will have that review for you all up as well. So, again, thank you all so much for watching. I truly do appreciate it. That's all the stuff I have for you guys today. I'll see you guys next time.